Now that we're in December, we're in the holiday season, and one of my favorite events in Detroit is Noel Night. For nearly half a century, it has swung the doors of Midtown open to crowds and revelry, cheer and merriment. And this year, it promises to be better than ever. Today is a preview of that event that's coming this weekend with Annmarie Borucki from Midtown Inc., who organizes the extravaganza. This is your Daily Detroit for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. I'm Jer Stays, and we'll get started after we thank our members that make this podcast possible. Thanks to Carol, Matt, Ryan, Dennis, Kathy, Ron, Wendy, and many others who've joined us at patreon.com/Daily Detroit. Independent media that covers what's happening around town needs independent funding to survive, so your patronage counts. And thank you for being a Patreon. Now on to our conversation. Joining me in the studio is Annmarie Borucki. She is a big part of making Noel Night happen. It is coming for its 47th year. It's one of my favorite events in all of greater downtown Detroit. Annmarie, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thanks for having me.
I guess we'll just start from the beginning. For those who are not, and I can't believe anyone isn't familiar with this event, but just in case, if people aren't familiar with Noel Night, what is it exactly?
So Noel Night is an annual holiday open house of both the Cultural Center and the Midtown District. As you said, it's been going on for 47 years. We have over 110 venues that participate. So all the way from our museums to our historic churches, galleries, small businesses, restaurants, bars, and a lot of things that are in between open their doors, free, for free to the public during the hours of 1 to 10 p.m. And our date is coming up here really soon. It's Saturday, December 7th. And so we are really excited to, host our next Noel Night this coming up weekend.
Well, and it's kind of cool to see something that goes so many hours, but I think one of the reasons it needs to is because it covers a lot of ground. It's kind of broken up into two sides, right?
Correct. So we changed our format slightly last year. And we have kind of a afternoon to nighttime portion and then our nighttime portion. So the area north of Warren Avenue, which really kind of consists of our cultural center, so all the museums, Wayne State University, are participating from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And that kind of helps kind of transition into the nighttime. And then our traditional Noel Night hours are 5 to 10 o'clock. So most of our institutions that are south of Warren Avenue, including the DSO, MOCAD, a number of our churches and businesses and restaurants down there are going to be open from 5 to 10. And part of the reason why we had to do that was to try and create a better user experience. The congestion for years had gotten horrible. In 2017 or 16, actually, the DIA got over 28,000 people in their doors within a 5-hour time period. Wow. The event has just gotten too big for everyone involved. And then the traffic congestion was awful. And then on top of that, you'd get people like, you need to do this over multiple weekends within December. Well, we just can't afford to do that. And so to try and kind of spread it out over a longer time period, gives people more time to kind of see and do it all. Although, the caveat here is there's no way you can see and do it all at Noel Night.
I mean, I'd like to see somebody try. I feel like that would be an epic adventure to start right at 1 and then start the clock and try to check off as many as you could.
We should probably test that out. I mean, we could probably come up with a really amazing award for that, but it would be really interesting to see someone try. We've had people do we're going to go see every dance performance, or we're going to do every possible make and take activity for our kids. I've seen families who do that, but I've never seen anyone able to see and do it all.
Because the thing is, too, is you're going to want to spend some time at each individual place. I got the note that there's a little bit of change when it comes to Woodward Avenue, because I remember in previous years that Woodward would be shut down in places for things. There's a little bit of changes with that this year?
Sure. It's not our first year not having Woodward closed down. So for years up through 2016, Woodward was always closed down between the DIA and the public library. And that was where we'd host our end of the evening Salvation Army sing-along. Well, now that we have the Q line, we are no longer able to close down Woodward. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we had it partially closed down for our last Electricity Festival, in 2017 as well. But we can't do that anymore. And I think a lot of people forget that the Q line has a major impact on events. And I think the Thanksgiving Day Parade is one of the few, events that is grandfathered in where they're able to close Woodward down, obviously, to do the parade. But we've had to kind of rethink our footprint for Noel Night. And so now our end of the evening sing-along is now hosted in a Wayne State parking lot at the corner of Cass and Canfield. Doesn't have quite the same feeling. We know that for sure.
But it's a great block.
It's a great block. It's where Shinola, Jolly Pumpkin, City Bird, and Nest, and Motor City Brewing Works and Traffic Jam Restaurant are all located. So it has a ton of action over there, and it's really kind of in the middle of the footprint as it continues to grow each year.
And so this strikes me also, as you were talking about congestion earlier, this, I bet, helps out with parking, right? Makes it a little bit easier to put, you can park a little bit closer to different things because it's kind of spread out a little bit.
In theory, I mean, it should help with parking. I think we all have a problem here with educating the public of where to park. And I mean, I think we're still part of this car culture here where people expect to be able to park right next to the place where they want to visit. And it's not always possible. I mean, Detroit is a big city like any other big city. And generally, you're going to walk a little bit. And this is a huge event that it's just easier to get around by foot. So we highly suggest that a lot of people park in areas that they normally wouldn't park. I mean, there's a number of really safe Wayne State parking decks that are all outlined on our website, which is noelnight.org, because I think a lot of people come in and they think, I know the Detroit Institute of Arts, I want to park right next to it. And that's not always possible. And so we're encouraging people to explore some other decks to park, just because you'll get in and out quicker. You'll be closer to a lot of other venues. You can still get over to the DIA on foot very easily. And then we also offer free shuttles that, loop around the footprint. So you can always jump on a free shuttle and get around fairly quickly.
Well, I mean, it's all beautiful areas of town. So that's really, good to walk and kind of experience Detroit outside of your car. I think it's so important to do that. One of the things is that, I know a lot of people think about that cultural center, but in fact, there are 3 hubs, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of new hubs this year. So, I mean, obviously the cultural center is one major hub. I mean, it's part of people's traditions each year. And I mean, the same great programming is going on there. Then we also have another hub at the corner of Woodward and Warren Avenue. It's property that's owned by Wayne State University. This is the 3rd or 4th year where they're hosting their winter art market. And it's a really lovely collaboration between Wayne State and Techtown. There's this ginormous tent where they have a ton of entrepreneurs in there selling, their products. There's also a number of, Detroit-based or Wayne State artists and alumni that are in there selling their artwork. We also have a really large beer tent. It's a craft beer tent that's sponsored by 8 Degrees Plato.
That is a great place, by the way. If anyone hasn't checked out 8 Degrees Plato, this would be your opportunity to do it.
Right. So they're doing our beer tent, but also their storefront over on Cass Avenue, that's south of Mack Avenue, is also open for Noel Night. And it's a lovely opportunity to kind of experience this new area. We also will have a square dancing performance at the beer tent through the hours, I think, of 5 to 7 o'clock. And so, I mean, that's just a whole new experience over there of having performances, beer, lots of great shopping. Lyft will be over there as well. That will be one of the locations for our rideshare. One of the other new hubs that we have this year is near the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. They have a courtyard over on Parsons called Sosnick Courtyard, and that's where we are relocating our annual Ice Scraper Challenge. So students from Wayne State University and College for Creative Studies have been learning how to sculpt ice under a professional ice sculptor. This year it's Randy Finch, who's some people may know as the Ice Brigade. He's on the Food Network. And so he comes in, teaches, these students how to sculpt ice. For years, we had done that in front of the DIA, and it just doesn't work anymore because of the queue line. We don't have Woodward Avenue closed off anymore. So we're testing it out over by the DSO. We also have a really strong performance over in the cube inside the DSO, featuring Ranky Tanky. So we've got this really nice hub over there. There'll be lots of carolers. There'll be outside bars and places to buy snacks. And then our third hub that I think a lot of people will care about is where we're doing our end of the evening Salvation Army sing-along. So our Noel Night Bandstand, again, is located at the corner of Cass and Canfield. That's right near where Shinola and Jolly Pumpkin is. We'll have, entertainment on that stage all the way from 5 through 10 o'clock. There's also an area to buy, baked goods. There's an area to make craft activities, holiday-based craft activities for kids. So that's kind of an area that's kind of growing in activity. And we'll get people out into the neighborhoods more to kind of see a number of the small businesses that have been doing so well in Midtown.
And there's so many good ones over there. I imagine most of them are going to be open for this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Noel Night is a really great, grossing revenue night for a lot of the businesses. It's also a really great way, when people don't want to go out shopping on, Thanksgiving or Black Friday, this is another night to get it done. You can buy a lot of really great, unique gifts for family and friends. And it's just a great way to see all the development that's here in Midtown. I swear, each year we have more and more businesses that are opening up. Some of them are more experience-based, some of them are stores. So there's just a lot for people to see that you're not going to find anywhere else.
If you haven't done a shopping trip along that Cass and Canfield area, 20, 30 places at this point, it's absolutely crazy. And then you've got the restaurants, it's just a really kind of great place any time of year, but this is a really good time to check it out. Are there any specific acts or things that I know it's hard to pick favorites because you're part of it, but are there anything specifically that you're looking forward to that that you're going to check out? Well,
there's a number. I am really excited that one of our big headlining performances is St. Paul and the Broken Bones. Do they ever perform free anywhere? Maybe occasionally, but this will be a free performance over at the Garden Theater, which is located on the block right next to Great Lakes Coffee. And they're doing a performance at 9 p.m. The Gabriel Brass Band will be opening before them. We'll have a DJ over in the theater, DJ Piranha Head from like 5 to 7:45. There'll be a fun spot. There will be some vendors in the lobby as well, selling some really nice wares. I think that'll be a really amazing band. I do encourage people to arrive early for that, just because the interest is huge. This is a really big national act coming in. I'm also really excited at Motor City Brewing Works warehouse right near Shinola. We're bringing in an act from Portland, Oregon, a guy named Earl Thomas and his band The Pain. And what's interesting about him is that he's almost 80 years old right now. And he just started his soul music career not that long ago. He was back in the business in the 50s and 60s, did a lot of backup singing for major African-American singers. And then, I don't know, his career just kind of stopped for a while because it's a hard business to make it in.
Oh, yeah.
And then he is back at it, and he's got an amazing career right now. So we're super excited to have him come perform this soul holiday performance. That will be at 9 o'clock. And then another one I'm really excited about is we're bringing MSU jazz professor Etienne Charles in and his band from New York to perform a Creole Christmas performance at the Wright Museum. And that'll be at 6 p.m. And we've brought him here before, but it is such a hot performance. Like, if you want to get out of your seats and dance, this is fantastic. He's a jazz professor by day, band leader, trumpeter by night. This is someone to really watch. He's really up and coming in his late 20s, really making a name for himself worldwide. And we're excited to have him because the quality of music is just utterly fantastic.
Well, and you mentioned the Gabriel Brass Band and then the Creole. One of the things I always remind people of is that, Detroit and New Orleans have a lot of ties together because we're some of the only French founded cities that have really stuck it through. And so there are some things that are kind of like shared between us. And I think that whole love of music and jazz and things like that is one of them.
I agree. And we love having different jazz performances. We try to have a variety of music so that there's something for everyone at Noel Night. But jazz is really big. Blues is really big. Clearly it wouldn't be Noel Night without a Thornetta Davis performance.
Oh, of course. You got to have Thornetta.
She's doing her annual, performance at the First Unitarian Universalist Church at 9 p.m.
I had a friend who went there for years. He never could say it either.
And so we're really looking forward to that. But the other cool thing, too, is it's a really great lineup over there. the Car Center, who's now located in the Park Shelton lower level.
Yeah, that's right, because they were in Harmony Park for a long time.
They were in Harmony Park for a long time. They now have their new contemporary art gallery space in the Park Shelton, but they have this series that they've done for years. It's called Detroit Jazz in the City, and they've partnered with Michigan State University, the jazz music orchestra over there, led by Rodney Whitaker, and then they're going to be opening for Thornetta. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of really great jazz, big band, blues over there. There's other bands, school groups performing ahead of time as well. But that leads to a whole other thing is what I get really excited about Noel Night. We may have major big acts performing, but it's still an amazing platform for school groups around the region to come perform at. And it gives these kids a really great opportunity, whether they're dancing or whether they're singing, an opportunity to perform under a large audience and to get that experience. And at the same time, they're paid for it. And it's a really great opportunity.
Great. Well, listen, you cannot get a better deal for Saturday fun in Detroit all year, I don't think, especially considering the admission price.
It's free.
Right, exactly. Annmarie, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find out more information and maybe plot their own little journey and path through Noel Night this weekend?
They can go to noelnight.org, or they can also go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/noelnight.
All right, that'll do it for your Daily Detroit. I'm Jer Stays. Thank you for listening. Remember to take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.